You've retired now for a while. A lot of us reacted violently to your retirement because we didn't want you to. But the fire still burns, isn't it? I see little interview snippets here and there. I see what you're saying somewhere. There's still a fire in you to want to play and get South Africa a big win.
Yeah, I'll never get rid of that. I mean, as I alluded to it before or earlier, I was born with this competitive itch. I have two older brothers that always pushed me. I really had to, but it's a fact. I really had to work hard to be part of something. And I've had to work really hard to be a part of the Proteas setup throughout my career, which I'm very proud of, having been there for so long. So that fire will never go away. And I want the guys to do well. And if I could be a part of it, it'll be fantastic. This lockdown didn't come at a great time. I was quite interested and very keen to get a part of the squad and to be there with the guys again. Even if I just work with them, if I don't play, I mean, I'm very open to anything. I just want that fire is there to make a difference for the guys, and it's always been there. But I have to assess my situation every single day, see where I'm at. Hopefully, for now, I just want to get on the cricket field. I mean, hopefully the IPL will happen this year. Another tournament or two. I just want to get going, and then we'll reassess, and I'll have a look at where I'm at that time, with my family, with my body, my hunger. All of those things play a big role, and I don't know where I'm going to be in 6 months' time. Hopefully everything works out, and I get that opportunity to contribute again to whichever team I play for.
I'm watching from afar as a neutral observer. Do the head and the heart come in conflict sometimes with you, where your heart is still saying, I want to play, your head is saying, I'm retired? There's a little dichotomy I've noticed where your statements are saying, I've retired now, and yet your heart is pumping loudly and it's telling everybody, I want to play.
Yeah, look, a lot of things happened in the last 5 years in my life and my career. So it was a confusing time, I could say that, and my head and my heart maybe I've been in different places at the same time, which is it's not a good place to be in. And trust me, I've asked myself those questions quite a lot of times. But I made that decision to retire. At the time, I felt I really needed to get away, and I got a lot of criticism at the time for picking and choosing. So there was no room to hide anymore. I couldn't say, listen, I want a bit of time off because then I'm picking and choosing. So I felt my only option was to say, listen, I'm done. I'm out of here. In the back of my mind at the time, I knew I was still going to play cricket. And after a good IPL or two, a bit of time at the Big Bash, slowly but surely that urge started coming back again. The T20 World Cup came back in my mind. And and having spent time with Boucher at that specific time last year, it really started the conversations. And it came more from his side at the beginning, because I would never say, hold on, hey, I'm back and available again. He started the conversations, and I decided, listen, let's just chat along and see where we go with this. And that's why it looks so confusing from the side. And I don't think it's that confusing. Life changes, and it shouldn't be the same all the time. Things change, situations change from year to year. And that's basically what happened to me in the last 4 or 5 years. Yes, it looks bad from the side and it's confusing. I did retire and I'm still retired. But things changed over the last 3 to 4 years. I'm still healthy. I still feel like I need the ball. If that changes, I'm certainly not available for anything. But for now, we'll see what happens in the next few games that I play.
Are you deep down a sensitive person? You get affected by criticism. You don't like it when people are saying those things or questioning your credentials. Are you inside just slightly soft, sensitive person?
100%. There's no doubt about it. I'm human, and you can see that. It's difficult for me to accept people giving me criticism when they know I'm just a genuine guy and I just want the best for everyone. So that is difficult to fathom and to take in. But I've obviously learned over the years, it's part of the game, it's part of what I do. Not everyone's going to like you. My parents always tell me that you can't please the whole world. But I want to, so why not? But anyway, that's probably where a lot of indecision came in. I want to be there. I want to show people I'm genuine, and I just mean the best for everyone, for the team and myself. And I come from a good place, and it's difficult to then get a kickback on that and hear that, no, but AB's indecisive, AB's turning his back, AB's doing this. It is tough. I'm sensitive. There's no doubt about it. I'm just a human being after all. So yeah, it is difficult.
Did the turmoil begin post that semi-final in 2015? Did something break that day inside?
I wouldn't say from a criticism point of view. From a personal point of view,
yeah.
Yeah, no, it played a huge role. And I mean, I have a lot of respect for it. There's nothing, no one did me in, or the team. We got beaten by sport on the night. And it was actually a beautiful thing, but it was really difficult for me to get through that year and to specifically meet up with the team again a few months later and having to go again. Here we go again. We got to restart. And I'm like, but hold on, I'm not over this World Cup. It hurt too much. So yes, I'm quite sensitive, and those kind of things play a big role in how I feel and my ambitions and all of that. So that year, that next 12 months was really tough for me. And maybe I should have been more honest about it. If I look back and communicated about it, I felt like I was a little bit alone at the time. But it's silly to say that you're alone if you don't seek for help and if you don't talk about it. So if I could have it over again, I probably would have opened up discussions with the coach, with the administrators, the directors from South African cricket at the time, and discuss my way forward. And I should have shared my emotions with him and things that bothered me, and I didn't. So that really wore me down a touch, but I kept playing. I tried to bite the bullet, and I tried to be there. I still was batting really well. Yeah. I still had incredible friendships and memories that we've created in that next year. I mean, we went to India and we had a successful ODI series there. So there's still things to hold on and things we achieved after that, but it was a difficult time.
Such a glittering career. If it ends without a World Cup, will you think as a whole, or will you say it's part of life, some things are meant to do?
We're talking about having not won a World Cup?
In passing, yes.
Yes, yeah. No, I mean, it's certainly something that I would have liked to have achieved throughout my career. We got close. I'm specifically very proud of the way we played in 2015, and certainly rocking up on that evening in Eden Park, playing some of the best cricket of the tournament, and we were so close. So I mean, I'm proud of our performances looking back. And then something that sort of lit up in my mind in that last World Cup, England and New Zealand at Lords. Yeah. It really made me realize that it's actually quite fickle. And it's not always just, I mean, it's not straightforward. You're the best team and you win the World Cup. There's a lot of things that took place in that game that made me think, no, man. It was just New Zealand's game. It was done and dusted. And if that's the difference between saying I've had a successful career because I've won a World Cup, then I'd rather not win one.
I'll go back to a couple of big years in your life, a couple of happy years in your life. The start of 2015, for example, when you got that ridiculous 131 balls against the West Indies. Some people thought it should be outlawed, it should be banned. 131 balls. No one's done that in a T20 game. I mean, was it one of those days that you were talking about? And then you followed it up with 162 and 66 balls or something? I mean, I play book cricket. I can't score that quickly.
Yeah. No, I had a couple of good days there. The one in Joburg was specifically memorable. My parents were there that day. It was a sunny day in Joburg. A really good wicket. I'm quite angry about the fact that I didn't get my 150, because I think that would have taken a while for that to get broken. I was one run away from doing a 150 in 44 balls, and I think that would have stood the test of time. But I think the 31 ball will be broken at some stage. It's not impossible, that's for sure. I mean, it's great memories that comes back thinking of that day. I felt in the zone, and I just had a lot of fun out there.
Tell me about 2008. There's a much younger AB de Villiers. The world is starting to get to know. There's this wow player, a player full of promise. He spent 2 years without Test 100. And then 2008, it's once again India, isn't it? You come to India. India's been very kind to you, and I'm going to talk to you briefly about that. You make 217 against India. That's early 2008. 174 against England. You win that series 2-1. 106 not out against Australia. You win that series 2-1. I mean, do you look back and say, that was the making of me, that I contributed in these very difficult away wins?
I think so. I actually sort of haven't thought of that for a while, but winning those three series away from, India we didn't win. It was 1-1.
You're true, yeah.
And in the other two, I mean, going to India and then Australia and England as well, and winning there, having not lost a series, that's quite big. I mean, that doesn't get achieved. You don't just achieve that as a team any time of the year. It's quite difficult to do away from home. But I won't say that made me. It was more of putting the team on the map and achieving the number one status in the world, which in my opinion is not far away from winning a World Cup. It might be actually a bit better. But yes, I think 2008 was certainly where I put down the peg as a player. That achieving a double 100 was always something that I felt that was close to impossible. I always saw other people doing it, and I thought to myself, I'm just not that kind of guy. I'd rather score 100 quickly and get out of there because I don't think I can do it. And breaking that shackles in India and actually getting the double 100 was a very, very big moment for me in my career, and it motivated me for the rest of the year and for what was to come.
I'm going to pull out 3 other numbers for you before we move on. 33 of 220 balls at Adelaide, 2012. 43 of 228 balls at Cape Town. 43 of 297 at Delhi. Did a twin suddenly come into bat? Someone who looked like you.
Yeah, I know. It's once again just applying yourself and a mindset and a deep desire to try and do something for a bigger purpose. And I love those kind of situations, whether it's having to score 100 in 40 balls or getting 40 or 300. It doesn't matter what the situation is. It's really just a desire to want to do something that might mean a lot for us down the line as a team. So I'd say that's probably that. Any player can change gears. It's something that you obviously learn over years, but then any player should be able to change those gears. There's no reason why, if you need to save a test match, why you go and eat a booming drive. There's no reason whatsoever. It's literally just deciding every ball, I don't care where this ball is, I'm smothering it and I'm putting it to rest. That's it.
Even if you know you can hit it for 6. So that denial almost, because you associate AB de Villiers with freedom, and yet there's 3 defining innings that spell denial. So that I was a bit curious about that. 2018, you've come out, you haven't played Test cricket for a while, and there are scorching pitches against India, 2018, and you play series-defining innings in that series, and then you play against Australia and you play series-defining innings in Test match cricket. And that's the last Test match cricket you've played, still at your highest.
Yeah, that was probably the best memories of my career. That because I haven't been through the controversy of 2015 to 2018 that we spoke about before, where a lot of things was misunderstood and there's a lot of confusion around. It was important for me to come back and to show that I care about my country, I care about my team, and specifically from a performance point of view, that's the only way you can really show it as a player. And that's what makes cricket so difficult. I can come back, and the risky part of that is taking someone's spot in the team that actually played for the last few years, and then not performing, and people go like, why did we let this guy back in? I mean, he's just a burden for everyone.
Don't talk like a normal man, Amy. Don't talk like a normal man. Those innings were teamed to a genius. But tell me specifically about that series against Australia, because it was, I mean, you spread good cheer when you play cricket. I think of AB, I think of good cheer. And yet that series was so much that was happening. People were saying things to each other. I remember in an earlier series, Faf du Plessis said, playing Australia is like playing a pack of dogs. He said, they're always after you. Was that the ill-tempered series, the sandpaper series?
I mentioned all those things because with both those series, that was really what was in the back of my mind. So I felt the real need to perform. So the Australian series, the Indian series, first of all, they came here and I was very wary of them. I know Virat well. I faced some of those bowlers in that last year in the IPL. I know Bumrah and some of those guys, Bhuvi and Ishant, and all of them are going to be a handful. And I honestly felt that they had the ability to beat us. So I constantly warned the guys in the change room to be at the top of their games. It's not going to be an easy series. It's going to be hard fought, and we managed to get through there on really tricky wickets, as you mentioned. And then the Australian series, once again, came over here. We haven't beaten them on our home soil. That's something I picked up leading up to this series. It was important for me to finish my career and beating the Aussies at home at least. And that series just kicked off in the 6th gear. It was absolute chaos there in Durban. They came really hard. Verbally, I mean, you can say what you want. I was there that day in the middle for that first test. It was offsides, verbal friction out there. It was big time, and it was personal. So, I mean, the juices were flowing, and there was game on. And to me, we were 1-0 down, and I could see this last Test series of mine going down not a good place. And I mean, I was very fired up. I wanted to make a difference, and it was an incredible series from everything that happened. It's a shame it ended with that ball nonsense, but it was still some of the best cricket that I've ever played in my life, and competition-wise, and everything that just happened. 2 incredible bowling attacks, really testing the batters, and having to stand up against the Cummins, Hazelwood, Stark was probably the biggest test of my life, and I'm very proud of that. Yeah.
Is it tricky being captain? You're captain of South Africa. It's always tricky. Of all the countries in the world at the moment, probably South Africa is the trickiest team to be captain of. And there's a semi-final, there's Sky Labber, there's Vernon Philander. End up, both are unhappy because Vernon Philander is a great bowler. He thinks I got picked for the wrong reason. Kyle Abbott's in the form of his life. He thinks I got dropped for the wrong reason. So is it tricky sometimes balancing those things being captain of South Africa? Because it's a reality. It's a historical reality, and you've got to live with it, isn't it?
It is tricky. There's no doubt about it. It shouldn't be. I don't like the fact that it is tricky because there's certainly no feeling of trickiness within the team. I mean, our culture is solid, and we have no areas of greyness or misunderstanding. Everyone's there for the right reason. We buy into the same goal and we go. And then there's other factors and other influences that make it a bit tricky. And I don't think it should be that way. I think our rugby team got it spot on, winning the World Cup now. Last year, it felt like they had an understanding, but also a real clearness or clarity about messaging from the team towards the public and also the administrators and vice versa. So it looked like it was a really well-run ship. I don't know if it was the case behind the scenes, but certainly from a results point of view, it looked like everyone bought into the same plan and they knew where they're heading. And looking back at the 2015 World Cup, maybe we should have put better things in place leading up to the tournament. Maybe we should have communicated better as a team, because as a team we were ready and we were prepared, and the communication within the walls was solid, and maybe not from the outside.
I won't labor this point too much more, but I heard your old colleague JP Gilmany say recently on an ICC program that you need to have a system in place in South Africa where a player of color gets picked because he thinks he's good enough to be picked. He said at the moment, sometimes they think they're in the side because they're not as good as someone else, but there's a system by which they're allowed in. And he says at the moment, nobody's happy because of that. I mean, maybe I'm putting words in his mouth, but that was about what he said. Is that a factor when you're actually playing? Are you worried that we don't always have a best 11 on the field?
Yeah, that has happened in the past. I don't think it really happened in the last while. The players of color, the white players, whatever you want to call it, everyone feels that they're on merit. So I think that's something of the past. It's more getting the balance of the 11 right on the day. That's what I struggled with. I want to pick the best team no matter what. And I won't say I never got my say. I mean, more often than not, it felt like we were spot on, and we could do what we needed to do. And that's how it is. I think in the past, and it's terrible for people to feel like that they don't belong there. I can tell you now, from a culture point of view, no matter who you are, if you got into the side, you were well looked after by everyone. And there's no differences in culture when it comes to the Proteas setup. There's more of the senior players taking responsibility of making the juniors feel welcome, and then we're all on the same level. That's how we treated it, certainly for the last while of my career, certainly when I was captain, and it worked extremely well. To me, it's more about getting my say in playing in the middle of a series, in the middle of India, where not a lot of people have had success before, and I've got to feel for what I feel the best 11 is, and then maybe there were occasions where I didn't get my say with that, and that was difficult for me to understand. We've
got some figures for you. You've got to look at those figures and say which of those is AB.
Okay.
Do you want to look at those? Have you seen those?
I have, yes.
Okay.
So, must I tell you?
Yes,
so
you do.
It's a tough one. It's either number 1 or 4, but I think it's 4, but it's definitely not 2, 3, or 5. I'm leaning towards 4, but it could be 1, but I think it's 4.
I think it's 4 too. Thank you very much, Amy. I've got about 20 more questions for you, but I've taken more time. I
can talk to you all day, Harsha.
I just want to leave you with one line that I heard you say once. You talk a lot about your family, Amy, and not enough is said about the family. And you said about a particular person, because of your love for music, that she sings like an angel. Tell us a little more as an aftermath.
We're talking about my wife. Yeah, no, she's an amazing person, and obviously the reason for me being sort of, I mean, I haven't played 15 years of international cricket. I think she played a big part in me really surviving from years 8 to 15. I mean, just ability to have that kind of person that's soft, consistent, with the thoughts right behind her husband, with everything he does, the mother of my children. And she certainly sings like an angel. There's no way, no doubt about that. The piano is right here behind the computer, so she plays every night. I know when I bath the boys, I can hear the piano sounds coming out of this room. It's very special. She's an incredible musician, but more so an incredible human being, and I'm very privileged to have her in my life.
I remember a story I was in Dharamshala, 2015. And I've got Graham Smith, Sean Pollock. I don't know if it's Graham Smith, definitely Sean Pollock. We're having a chat. And the stadium erupts. And I'm thinking, wow. And I just looked to the corner of my eye, and there's you with a bat tucked in walking out in another country. And I just thought, may it long be that way. May India always be a second home. But you are the most popular overseas player. And I've been watching cricket for 30 years. The most popular overseas player to play in India. So thank you for all that you've done, and maybe we'll have this conversation another time too.
Now what's happened with the Indian public in the last I don't know how many years of my career, it's truly amazing. And I mean, it's something you could never, I could never understand it. But it's a huge privilege playing there, and everything that India's meant to me in my life, I'll be forever grateful. And hopefully one day that story doesn't stop. Maybe my boys go and play IPL one day when they're older, and I could return again.
You'll probably get a bigger cheer. So anyway, thank you very much. We've kept you longer than we promised, but it was fantastic talking to you, and I'm sure people will enjoy listening to you.
Thanks, Harsha. I appreciate the time.
Pleasure. Thank you.